Artemis I will be the first test flight of the agency's new Space Launch System megarocket and the Orion crew capsule. The SLS rocket will launch the uncrewed Orion spacecraft on an approximately 42-day mission, during which it will orbit the Moon before returning to Earth. Artemis projects to launch an unmanned spacecraft around the Moon in its first mission. In its second stage, a manned spacecraft will orbit the Moon. In the third phase of this, people will be taken to the heart. The Artemis I mission is scheduled for 2022, the Artemis II mission in 2024, and the Artemis III mission in 2025. This will be the initial step of this project. Astronauts selected for the initial Artemis moon missions will fly to the Moon's south pole. You can see the trajectory of the Artemis I spacecraft in this picture. Here in green you can see the path of the Artemis I mission to the Moon, and in blue the path of the lander from the Moon to Earth. Here the numbers 1 to 5 are the Orion spacecraft's journey to Earth's orbit after launch. A special occasion here is that number 3 shows the main stage of the SLS rocket escaping from the Orion spacecraft. The interim stage of the Orion spacecraft and the SLS spacecraft, known as the Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage, ICS, will start from position number 6. Then, at position number 7, the Orion spacecraft and the Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage will separate from each other, and they will travel separately after that. According to scientists, this spacecraft will take about 8 to 14 days to complete its journey from the Earth to the Moon. In this way, the Orion spacecraft will orbit the Moon at position number 10 after traveling to the Moon. Orion will remain in orbit for 6 to 19 days. After station number 12 here, the craft will again leave the lunar orbit. It will then begin corrections to the spacecraft's approach to Earth at positions 13 and 14. Then the crew module and the service module of the Orion will be separated from the position number 15. Finally, at station number 16, the crew module will enter the Earth's atmosphere. Then finally, at location number 17, the crew module will splash down into the Pacific Ocean off the American coast. Thus, it will take 9 to 19 days for this plane to reach Earth from Moon. The SLS spacecraft will take about 42 days to complete this full journey. What do you think will be the main purpose of this? Some argue that the more ambitious goals of the Artemis mission may be to use the Moon as a stepping stone for a mission to Mars. All operations to Agahari so far have been carried out by robots, and NASA aims to bring humans there by 2030. The Artemis mission is a great opportunity to train humans to navigate our solar system. Yes, you think that the way this mission supports it is problematic because the Moon Quest and the Mars Quest are two different missions. Three-time NASA astronaut Stephen Swanson says, the real target is Mars. Mars is a very difficult mission, so we use the Moon as a test station. As with Mars, we can use the Moon for other things. It has been said that we can use the Moon for things like collecting material from the Moon itself, and seeing how we can use it to make our fuel. NASA started a project called Tipping Point in 2020. Do you remember that NASA researched with Nokia to establish 4G technology on the surface of the Moon? We can conclude that they are planning to create research camps on the surface of the Moon. In this project, NASA has given $22.1 million to the company called Alpha Space Test and Research. The purpose of this is to create a special laboratory on the surface of the Moon. A lot of data can be collected about the environment of the Moon by using this research laboratory. Also, NASA has given another amount of money to the Sierra Nevada Corporation in the project Tipping Point. Through this, NASA hopes to find a technology that can create oxygen using lunar soil and methane. In addition to the projects I mentioned, money has been allocated for a large number of other projects through this 2020 Tipping Point project. Another $5.8 million has been allocated to the Astrobotic Technologies company from this Tipping Point project. They hope to create a wireless charging technology on the surface of the Moon. It is clear that NASA is hoping to create a settlement or a research center on the surface of the Moon. Also, another objective of NASA is to take a woman to the Moon. Between 1969 and 1972, there were 6 moonwalks, and 12 people walked on the surface of the Moon. They are all men. Because more experienced astronauts were needed for Moon operations, the NASA Institute did not have more experienced female astronauts at that time. So NASA has planned to take a woman to the Moon for the first time in the world. So what do you think about these future NASA projects? I know you have many ideas about this too. We can discuss them in the comments section below. If you like this video of mine, don't forget to like it and subscribe us.